Hey guys, and welcome to the Skypod.
Again. Again.
Again.
We
Again
are
and again
still
and
in the
again and
Skypod.
again. So yesterday I asked I asked you guys over Instagram on what are your biggest questions for me personally, basically for the Ask the Engineer series. So today we will be answering your questions in depth. So I'll be spending a lot of time. I can't answer a lot of questions, but I'll be spending a lot of time explaining these questions. I've chosen the questions. I've asked my wife for advice also for the questions. Yeah, kasi alam naman natin na happy wife, happy life. So everything I do kailangan ine-inspect niya.
Whatever. Bahala kasi mong gibuhat dong.
Okay, so first question. These are a lot of people actually asked this, but I just summarized it. What's the first step in building a house? Layout ba? Hire ba ng architect? Etc. For me personally, the first step in building a house is deciding your budget. And marami ding nagtatanong magkano magpatayo ng bahay dito sa Pilipinas. So, I'll explain a bit. When you have a house estimated, binibilang yan lahat from all the windows, to all the beams, to the tiles that you use, the roof and ceiling that you use. So, it's going to be complicated, but you don't start there kasi medyo matagal ang proseso na yun. So, what you want to happen is to have a rough guide. Ang ginagawa namin palagi as builders is to give you a per square meter estimate so you have an idea of how your budget fits. So, for example, dito sa Skypod, medyo mahal because marami kaming mga windows, wood yung ceiling namin, good quality tiles. Pero Skypod is not that big compared to other houses. Nababalance namin yung cost, nababalance namin yung budget. So, per square meter is basically a square that has paak talaga. That's 1 meter. 1 meter. It's here. Naubusan na kami ng scotch tape, guys. Kasalanan nyo to. Kasalanan nyo. So, ang gagamitin natin, because diba, engineers are supposed to be resourceful. Ay, wire. Charging wire.
Imagine na lang.
Imagine na lang natin. So, ganyan. Dahil naubusan tayo ng scotch tape. This is 1 square meter. So, this is 1 meter, this is 1 meter. 1 meter, 1 meter. Okay. So, kadalasan, it is a rule of thumb talaga to price a house per square meter depending on how high-end you want to go. So, for example, a typical bodega, and I asked my brother this because ito talaga negosyo ng dad ko and my brother, is to build warehouses or steel fabrications. If you want, go check them out. I'll put up a link down below. Well, promote the father. A typical house, pag bare, is 15,000 per square meter. So, ganito kalaki is 15,000. So, bare meaning cement lang talaga, wala pa, hindi pa siya tapos. But livable. If you really want a house na medyo tight ka sa budget, that is 15,000 per square meter is roughly around there. And it goes higher from there as you finish the house. When you want to have a higher end house, gusto mo na ng pintura, gusto mo na ng tiles, you go up the scale. So usually, mid-end house would be at around 25,000 per square. So medyo at around, ano na yan? Half an iPhone. Kalahati ng iPhone, isang ganito.
So, 2 squares is 1 iPhone.
iPhone here, and then iPhone na naman to. And then iPhone na naman to. And then, the higher end you go, higher end we range it usually at around 35 to 40,000 per square meter. Meaning, branded na yung mga gamit mo. Class A tiles, yung mga walls mo is all painted. Paminsan may mga marble pa, may mga ganitong granite countertops.
Damn.
And a lot depends on the design of the house as well. Gagamitin natin ang ating mahiwagang iPad. A typical house is usually medyo squarish lang siya. But since dito sa Skypod, ginawa namin is may pool sa gitna. So we had to make this walled off area na ganyan, di ba? So, ang mangyayari is lumiit yung area pero lalong dumami yung walls. So per square meter, mas tumaas siya. And then, kasi glass pa siya, mas lalong mataas pa siya. So, we went over the 35,000 budget. Now, there are ultra high-end houses like sa mga recent videos na nakikita ko kay Vice. Vice, ang ganda ng bahay mo, Vice. And yeah, I asked permission from Vice to guesstimate his house. And I would think it is around 80 to 100,000 per square meter. Bakit? Kung napansin mo sa tour, lahat ng mga walls niya may mga ilaw, may mga finishes. Yung finish niya is skim coat finish sa mga walls. So, very expensive kasi you have to do skim coat, then you have to seal it, etc. Cabinets, grabe. Kitchen, grabe. And then, pag napansin nyo sa ending, when he was saying goodbye na to everyone, naka-tiles pa yung walls. So, that adds up talaga. And nakikita naman natin na quality yung mga ginagamit. Like, for example, a quality glass panel would be about 4 times as expensive than regular panels. So, it goes up to infinity. Kami dito sa Skypod, remember love, I wanted the super industrial stainless kitchen counter that we saw in Manila.
And then when we saw the price tag.
And then when we saw the price tag, parang, wag na.
Okay.
So, ito yung counter namin. This is a fairly decent, high quality counter. But the counter that we saw in Manila, stainless siya. And then, designer, my brand, it was 4 million counter lang.
Yeah,
so,
crazy.
The per square meter prices can go up really, really high if you have the budget.
Yeah, remember we saw the door that was 1 million pesos per door?
Yes, 1 million.
One door, guys!
Tapos yung ano pa, yung closet na
hand sewn.
may leather na hand sewn. Closet was about this big. Ganito lang. Mga ganito siya. 1 million.
Yeah, when you open the
When
you open the drawer.
When you open the drawer, pero sorry, magulo yung naka ano siya, parang Hermes bag, yung mga high-end bag na may naka-stitch siya. It's crazy.
So if you have the money,
So, ganito yung ranking. 15,000 bare, 25,000 mid-end, 35,000 medyo high-end, pero may mga ultra high-end that goes up to infinity talaga. So kami nasa medyo a little bit higher than high-end siguro. Okay, question number 2. Medyo serious because nagtatanong siya kung if I ever cheated in engineering growing up. And the honest answer is yes. Kanina tinanong ko si Kryz na, love, someone is asking me, have I ever cheated ba daw? Tapos biglang sabi ko, of course, everybody cheats. Wala akong kakilalang engineer na hindi nag-cheat. Yung sa isip niya.
Like,
diba, nagbago yung mukha niya.
You cheated? Crazy.
I don't condone it, but yes, we used to cheat and ito yung technique namin. We'd have calculator, di ba? Calculator talaga pag may test. And the calculator is black. We'll have a pencil. Sorry, mga professors. We'll have a pencil and then we'd write down all the formulas. Paminsan, nag-i-inspect yung professor ng calculator, tinitingnan one by one. So if may inspection, ginaganyan lang namin. Tapos na. Yeah, that was a sneaky way we did it. Personally, I feel like you still have to know about the subject or you still have to have a grasp on how to use the formula na kinodigo mo. And in the real world naman talaga, pwede naman talagang gumamit ng like notes, diba? So, for me personally, I feel like mas maganda if the education system is more tailored towards the real world na pwede tayong gumamit ng mga notes. Although you still have to study those notes to be able to use the formulas. No matter how hard you cheat, pag dating sa board exams, you can't cheat the board exams. You will still have to study. Which leads me to a lot of you asking me how I passed the board exam and board exam advice. So ganito lang kasimple. Every time, I almost stopped my board exam by the way. Almost. I missed by 0.5. Sakit. Anyway, what I did was, sa room ko, I'll have a lot of Manila paper. And then I'll write all the formulas. Board exams are, I feel, is 80% all about the formulas. So, meron akong mga Manila paper that I put all across the walls of my room. And then I'll just sit there and memorize each one. I probably memorized like 1,000 formulas. Dito. Naka-pentel pen yun lahat. And then before I sleep, I'll run through all of them. Dito na area. So parang may picture ka in your head na, dito na area, hydraulics. Dito, thermodynamics. Dito, moment, shear, whatever. That's how I did it. And I had different colors pa. Guys, a quick note pala. I took the board exam twice. I actually failed my first board exam because when we were in the review center, may mock test. And then I took the test and then it came out perfect. Perfect yung score ko. So first test, nilapitan kami. At sinabi, Slater, you are one of our bets to be a top-notcher. Please continue on your path. Sa isip ko, I don't want to be a top-notcher. I just want to pass. Ganito lang pala ka-easy yung board exam. Wala na. I'll just play StarCraft. StarCraft pa at that time. And I worked for my father also. So parang, kaya ko na yan. I failed that test. And the second test, I locked myself in the room for 4 months. I didn't go out. I just studied and yun, mga cartulinas and yellow paper everywhere. That is how I passed. So guys, don't be overconfident kasi ang daming mga subjects sa board exam na hindi tinuro sa real classes. So although real classes I did well, the board exams have different twists to the subjects that you need to study for. And of course, don't get discouraged. If you fail, you can always try and try again. Kaya mo yan. It's all about just studying hard and just doing your best. Guys, sorry magulo bahay namin. Marami pa kami mga gamit. These are all my things to repair around the house. So this is for you. Next question is how we clean around the house. Specifically, our leather sofa and some bathroom items. Mamaya na yan. Leather sofa muna. Meron akong tip for you guys. So come here, join me. So, leather sofa. All you need, this is coming from my friend who sold us the sofa pala. Thank you, Carla. All you need is feminine wash and water. So, lagay ko ng konting feminine wash, feminine water, and then feminine wash. And then this is what you do. You get a dry cloth also. So, if you noticed, love, I cleaned this part na.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And then may mga parts dito that I didn't clean. Anyway, first step is to trapo it so that there's no dust. That's it. Just a dry trapo. I won't clean the entire sofa for you guys. Second is you use another one and then you dip this here and then you wipe it like that. Pero, since engineering to, ito yung gagamitin natin. This is what is called a drill brush.
Later in his toys.
May brush tayo. You can buy this online. I'll put up a link down below. It comes in different colors. Make sure if you're cleaning the sofa, you buy the white one. So, parang soft on a brush and then the yellow one gets harder and then there's a red one that's even harder for mga stone and then there's an even harder one for yung mga pots and pans na sobrang soiled na. This one rotates like that. You dip it here and then all you do is
That drill is your most sulit tool.
Yep. Everybody needs a drill. You get another cloth na just a wet cloth with just water and then dry out everything. And then you can also decide to seal it with your favorite leather protector, etc., etc. Now, also on that note, dati na-stain to ni Kryz. This entire thing was purple and black because what happened, love?
Nothing happened.
She dyed her hair wet sa shower and then diretso sat down here. Nandito siya sandig ba?
Sandal.
Nakasandal. So this was all purple and colored and we panicked And then we discovered a hack, if this ever happens to you. We use her hairspray to take out all the stain. You can either use hairspray or vodka. I think it's the alcohol there that does that. And you can use it in combination with the drill. And then that solves it. So if you look closely, wala na siyang stain.
Guys, it works. It's pristine.
Okay, so a lot of you guys also asked how we get rid of those mga spots sa mga fixtures and stuff. Dito meron din. We'll clean this one because ito yung medyo marami. So ang ganda ng shower nito because meron siyang rubber. So you can just do that if ever it gets clogged up, and it helps also with cleaning. But what we do is just we use regular suka and then we spray it. And then we wipe it. But again, I'll probably do a whole episode of this because this is so fun.
No shit.
Guys, wear goggles. Then after that, just water and rapo and just clean it off. Make sure you don't leave the vinegar staying for too long because it might cause these streaks. Oh, I have to figure out how to get this out pa. But it's basically just mga rust. I have a rust remover. For some other video naman, masyadong mahaba na tong video na to. So you can also use this solution, just vinegar. This is just vinegar. And then if you have mga white spots sa glass, it's the same thing. Probably you can use this, but just use na lang cloth. Okay, last question, medyo mas intense. Sabi niya, I hate my boss. What do I do? When it comes to this, I think it's your fault. It's your fault because you haven't told your boss. All the things na mga hinanakit mo, you have to tell your boss. So that he can have the opportunity to change. Just like kasalanan mo pag nagagalit ka sa wife mo pero hindi alam ng wife mo kung bakit ka nagagalit. The wife doesn't have the opportunity to change. So, tell your boss, and a good boss would actually respect you for coming forward and telling him what's wrong because that's his way also of improving. So mga employees ko, whenever they call me out, Sir Slater, I think this is wrong. I think this is how you should be doing it. I listen to them intently talaga. Now, after that, if after you have told your boss na, okay, ito yung mali mo, ayoko na dito because this, and the boss does not respond positively, you have two choices. You either stay and be miserable or you find another job. Ganyan lang. It's your fault until you tell your boss. After that, it's your boss's fault and it's your decision what to do about it. For me personally, life goal first before any career or business goals. Anyway guys, this has been fun. I like talking to you guys in this setting kasi para siyang may conversation. I love hearing more about the things that you do sa mga videos ko. If you followed it, if it worked for you, please tag me on Instagram. And for this channel, if you like my channel, please support it so it can grow and we can reach more people. So subscribe, ring the notification bell, hit the thumbs up, comment down below of anything you want us to talk about in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!